What's up everyone, this is 7G. So for today's video today, we're actually going to go over the recent patch notes that's been released in KR. And courtesy to Tuna Fish for doing all this translation regarding what type of balance patches we're going to see, and some changes actually going to be happening to the PvP themselves, as it's going to be one of those hot topics that we're going to have when it actually does arrive to the North American server. So if you actually want to see the changes yourselves with the stuff's going on with KOG in the Korean server, you can actually go down the link below and then you can see all the changes themselves. But for those of you who actually don't want to go to the link and actually prefer seeing it yourselves on the video, you can actually kick back and relax, and I'll do all the explaining for you in this video for today. So to kick things off, we can actually start going with the very first section of the changes they're going to have. So for the rank changes, star ranking is actually going to get changed, and how star ranking is actually going to be distributed. So instead of actually giving star ranking to the top 10 players, actually this time around it's going to be the top 20 players that's going to be rewarded the star ranking amongst the top 20% with triple S ranking. And also the star ranking will be updated every morning, or in this case in the Korean server it's going to be 9 AM, but in the North American server it can usually be around like 6 AM in the morning Pacific Standard Time. So for the second part of the rank changes they're going to implement, guild ranking is actually going to be a thing this time, but this time it's actually going to be more focused towards PvP ranking. So it actually depends on all your members in terms of how much they play with the win rate versus loss rate, and their current ranking with the characters corresponding to the guild. For taking example, if one guild actually has 3 star rankers and the rest of them are triple S ranking, this will actually mean that it's going to be highly likely they're going to be the ones with the #1 spot in the guild of PvP wise, and so this ranking is actually going to be appear on the website as you see with the character rankings, and at the same time it's going to be appear on the board that you see with the individual rankings. This will actually bring some interesting changes to see like how guild members actually be perceived as, and at the same time how good the guild is with their members, but at the same time it could be towards a little drawback for being known in the community, being like the most OP. At the same time it's going to be the most gear carry guild with their really good enhancements such as like around plus 11s or plus 10s or even plus 12 when it gets to that point. This ranking changes for the guild is actually going to be a double-edged sword for almost all players in all guilds, so I actually had to warn you guys, but if you're going to be that hardcore PvP player with the hardcore PvP guild, just be warned that you're actually going to be well known in the community either in a good way or a bad way. So it can go either way, just remember that it's going to happen if you actually really want to go in that route in terms of you being taking your PvP level to the next level. So moving on to the next session of this update, I know you guys are actually a little bit frustrated with the fact KOG actually did remove the party queuing feature, which allows you to party up with your own team members or guild members or your friends themselves and actually queue up for a match and then actually be paired with another team that could either be randomly queued together or actually against with another party. I know that you guys actually do miss the fact that I actually remove that, because like there's a lot of people with frustration that there's actually be team stacking with like 2 or 3 players actually have the best gear in the game with like really good enhancements versus this team that actually are randomly queued with not the best gear and enhancement at the same time. This system returning back to Elsword into PvP will actually bring majority of the players some with delight, in case you guys want to actually pair with your friends and just have fun, but at the same time will actually bring back some treacherous moments for those who actually are soloists that like for like team play and actually doesn't have the teammates to go with them in terms of like you want to just PvP for 3 for the heck of it. At the same time you have to deal with these people who actually are parity second with like, the most OP gear in the game. And another update actually added to this party matching system is the actual system itself will actually try to pair up if you're paired with another partner or party full of team of 2 or 3s, will actually do its best to try to match it with another party group that actually doesn't have the same amount of players or 2 or 3 players to maximum. And if it were to be in that scenario, and if that solo player actually did commit with either a 2v2 or 3v3, that person will actually get 200 XP towards the end of the match, and if you actually did lose the match, the penalty of your ranking points will actually be reduced in half, so it won't actually be a heavy hit to you if you were that solo party member that happens to be in a random queue with a 2-player or a 3v3 party. Moving on to the third part of this PvP revamp, this character will actually address to prevent the abusing that actually happens with the previous system of PvP. So before, there was a feature that you can actually cancel the queue right after you actually been paired with the team, and it actually does lead to disconnection amongst the team members, and you'll probably see the cases of either 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3, which was pretty common back in the day. Hopefully this actually addressed that issue of players canceling intentionally in order to make that happen, and several minor updates that KOG added for the queuing system. So if the PvP doesn't start for 180 seconds, basically 2 minutes after matching, you're actually matched guaranteed with an NPC in order to compensate you for having to wait that long of a time to sort of be queued with a match. So there'd actually be a good chance for you to farm like any NP tiles if you were to get that, but that actually would only happen if the worst case scenario were to happen. And one last minor thing they actually added is for the draw time change. So for PvP, draw time is actually changed from 15 to 10 seconds, which is not pretty much significant enough to make a difference in terms of PvP, but they just added the patch notes just in case if anything were to go wrong with the system they actually had before. Moving on to the fourth part of this patch, which is actually be the most grittiest part, it's going to be the meatiest part about the updates regarding all the stats modifiers. So most of you guys are actually a little bit frustrated with the fact like with those people actually have the most OP gear with the best enhancements, which translates them of having the best stats of all the games and actually have a bigger advantage towards the other players in the game itself. Creating this big giant paywall between those who actually play the game just for free versus those who actually pay the game in order to make their stats a little more better, and actually separating the fact between paying to win versus actual player actually took the time to learn how to play that character very well and then can afford the gear to make the character more better. So in the actual patch notes itself, critical damage, skill damage increase, MP cost decrease, skill down cooldown socket option gets modified, and only 40% gets applied in the arena itself. Hopefully this patch note itself will actually address some of the issues of having those really high stats from the gears, will actually create some unfairness in terms of the experience of PvP itself. And hopefully it should actually bring some narrow the gap between for those who actually have the high stats versus those who actually just got on the game, just want to play PvP for fun, and enjoyed Elsword as the game itself. Move on to the minor updates actually in this patch, but I'm actually going to go through it a little bit quickly. So for the rewards, there's actually going to be a league reward system where it should be rewarded based on your rank. So if you actually get star ranking, you actually get a certain amount of goodies from the server like we had back in the days in the North American server, which is pretty severe at the time because if you were actually star ranking, this will actually lead to the system itself giving you kaching, which actually funds your character even further to actually get more better stats or better costumes, and in turn making them more OP and giving more guaranteed chance to stay in the star ranking and basically hog all the rankings and actually create some unfairness for those who actually want to get the star ranking for themselves too. Hopefully this reward system will actually be a little bit more game relevant just in terms of contents that actually not allow them to become more OP even further than they are. And at the same time, the rewards should be a little bit even or a little bit fairer amongst the ranks, so it won't feel them a little bit more frustrated to the point that you have to actually play extra hard and extra hours in order to reach that ranking, which is actually giving a lot significant more rewards compared to those that actually are under it. So for the minor two updates mentioned in this patch note, is for the records, you can actually see the records of your amount of wins and losses per season, and when the season's over, it actually gets restarted and you actually do refresh with a new pile of your win and loss streaks along with your rank. And for the last section for this update is for the move selection. So you can actually choose between either item or power mode in PvP modes, and at the same time you actually added this option to veto the menu if you actually don't want to play any of those two modes. There are other sections in this patch that it's going to be affected to a sparring room, but I won't go over that because you guys are into the PvP section in general, as it will affect the game itself. But the bigger problem is going around the server is actually the matchmaking system itself. So I actually see a lot of cases of guild members and some of my friends actually are playing the PvP as of for now, and for those of you who actually have S ranking, you actually are sometimes matched with a player that actually is either triple S rank or star rank even, and actually create some unfairness between the level of gear and the level of skill of your character has. So comparing those back into the Season 2 days, matchmaking system was actually a little bit more balanced, as you actually fight around with your ranking area, but if you go towards the very top of your ranking, you actually get paired with the player that actually has the next ranking to go for, then you have to fight that player in order to achieve the next rank. But this time around, the matchmaking system is much more inconsistent, and players actually in the lower ranks gets paired with the higher rankings. So this problem has been lingering around the North American server for quite a while now, and we aren't actually sure if KOG does recognize this problem and any chance they're going to fix it down in the future. Hopefully they actually get this thing straight out before the updates for the Korean server comes to the North American server, but if they don't actually finish that by then people are not going to enjoy PvP as much as people like KR does. This actually wraps up the video today for PvP challenges, but in the patch notes itself, I actually linked to you, there is another patch note regarding balances amongst the characters. However, the information is not available yet, but we can actually see the significant nerfs going to happen to all the third classes when they were released. So expect to be in another video someday. Hopefully you enjoyed this video of me going through what's going on with the balance changes they're going to have in the Korean server and later soon in the North American server. If you want to discuss more regarding these changes, you can always drop down a comment down below, and then hopefully you can actually bring some discussions among me and the community around you itself. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you later then.